He is legally in the court. You can declare the declaration of age is there.
All right. Stand by. Yeah.
Hi, good morning, and thanks for joining us on our program today on TVN, Television Nigeria. I'm Keisha Onie. This is one program where we talk about trending stories all around the world, beginning with Nigeria, Africa, and the rest of the world. And of course, today is one special day that you can't sit back and miss this. So you sit back and enjoy every bit. And you know, we don't just do it on our own. We don't just do it like talk or our personal opinions. We get out there to find out from different Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians, what is happening in the political scene and other stories. Guess who is here right now? I have with me here my very big and personality that I love so dearly. I'm talking about my colleague anyway, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, good morning.
Good morning, Keisha. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Daybreak Africa on Television Nigeria. It's a pleasure to be here again today.
All right, how's it been?
It's been good.
All right, you look a bit, I think, a bit brighter today.
Keisha, you come again
Okay, let's get, I know we have a very special segment this morning, but I don't know what is up there in Nigeria streets. We talk about Abuja, and then we look at Nigeria. I don't know your perception. If anything is changing for good, or is just the way it is?
As in generally?
Generally, yeah.
Okay, as for the weather, yeah.
Well, for the weather, we know there are a lot of people that are becoming more lazy now. Yeah.
In Abuja, definitely, we are having a change of weather.
Right.
And I think the nights get longer these days. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
As at 6 p.m. everywhere is dark.
Still dark, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
and we have.
It's a good weather. I like it.
We have people from. I have a friend in Cross River State who said the place is becoming more hot and the heat is damn so much here.
Whoa.
So
even in Lagos, my sister was telling me yesterday that Amata, there is no such thing. That they are very hot. The weather is very hot.
Lagos should be experiencing heat even during the rainy season.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so very much for joining us on our program today once again. And we have wonderful people here that are joining us on this program. I'm just so happy that these guys are really here this morning to be part of this production today. But first of all, let's get to find out what is happening in your neighborhood, your local government, your government, the state government where you are. Are they narratives that are changing for good, or is just the way it's been? All right, so we'll get to see and meet our guest this morning. On my far right here, we have Dr. Ako Amboson. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
All right. All right, how's it been?
Well, thank God. It's a very good opportunity for me to be here.
All right, thank you so very much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, and Dr. Amboson is a media scholar, and is a patriotic Nigeria, someone who can actually speak, connecting with the people. And if you are going to, have so much to talk about Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole, you must connect with the people to know what the people are feeling. All right, so we will get into that shortly. And of course, on my left here, we have a very wonderful person, a very good friend of mine. He's not here because he's a friend. He's here because he understands what Nigerians are going through and he needs to say something that matters. I'm talking about David Ibrahim. It's good to have you here.
Thank you, Keisha. It's good to be here. I'm so excited to meet you again.
All right.
Thank you, madam.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, Lizzie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the talk is on. Discussion is on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trending stories.
Trending stories.
Yeah, before we get to other...
What's the most story that catches your thoughts this morning?
Lizzie, there's so much to talk about.
First, the one that hit me first this morning was the one from the headquarters,
the defense headquarters.
The defense headquarters.
All right.
About looking for 19
declaring
wanted
wanted, yeah.
19 terrorists.
And okay.
So I don't know. It's for me. It's I was wondering actually that okay, these terrorists have been declared wanted, and there's even a fine on their heads. About how much? 5 million each on each head.
And of course, we have someone from the DSS saying that this is not really good enough. 5 million is too small.
That they should increase it.
Yeah, it should be increased because they want to get hold of these guys. I don't know. Let's begin from.
Yeah, but my challenge, Doctor, just before you contribute, is my worry, like I said, is most of these terrorists that have been held in the past, none of them were prosecuted, and eventually, after a while, we heard that some of them were released. So, is this going to be something different, or is it because they've been declared wanted now that these ones for once will be prosecuted when they are caught?
I think what you've rightly said, the lack of prosecution after arrest, the government would have set the machinery into motion and then ensure that since they were arrested because of a crime, they would have been prosecuted.
Right.
I'm a Christian. If you look at it properly, a kidnapper is supposed to be shot. That's what it says in the Bible. And if these ones are supposed to be tried in a regular court, you imprison them to serve as a deterrent to others, or you execute them. Assuming they are caught outside, I'm a military officer, a retired military officer. Assuming they meet me outside, they will shoot me outside in the field. But if you meet them there and you've already arrested them, they are supposed to be in safe custody so that you investigate them thoroughly to find out the source of funding, the source of arms that are coming into. We have a lot of arms in the country. Right. They come through the same people, and government has not done anything. It's a complete mess we're going through. It's a threat to security. And to be able to arrest this and ensure that they are punished with even those who are sponsoring them, we can't have peace in Nigeria. All right. They've told to other smaller countries within Africa. After the Gaddafi episode, that's exactly what we're having. So many small arms came into the whole of West Africa. We're insecure because of that. So we'll continue to lament on all what is happening. We need to do something decisively, and that means there must be punishment for all these people. You don't keep people in prison. You've caught them and you know that they committed a certain crime. They should be punished immediately.
Right.
You don't leave them there endlessly.
Well, that is really amazing. I love what you say. You don't just keep people in a prison.
Right.
Before we get to you, David, I'd like to find out about this idea of the government. Is it that it is out of control of the government to take measures, decisive measures to say, okay, we understand that this is the challenge we're going through in Nigeria. And desperate times, they say it calls for desperate measures.
Right.
But where we are right now, I don't know. Is it that the government is really out of control?
Maybe there are interests, certain interests.
Okay.
If people are involved, you have to dance with their own conditions.
All right.
They will tell you, don't touch this person. The profiling people have been doing for quite some time is focusing on a certain tribe and a certain community within a nationality within Nigeria.
Right.
And that profiling is making the whole thing cloudy. We can't have it way until there is a political solution to all this. Right. And that means the president has to be decisive. He must talk. I have not heard our president speaking to the press. I want to see him talk to the press.
Well, do you think at this time the president talking to the press is going to make any difference?
Anything.
Because
make a difference.
he's going out of the office in the next few months.
Exactly.
So what
people need
difference?
The reassurance that he is in control.
Yeah.
If you're in control, people need reassurance. At least once in a month, he can talk to the press. They do that in the U.S. almost every week. The president talks to the press. That's true.
Well, let's not even get to the U.S. Some of the African countries,
South Africa,
we also have Rwanda, who actually get their power back. But let's get back to David. What do you make of this story?
Okay, he used the term interest.
Interest, right?
Nigeria is a country that is defined by cross-conflicting interests.
Right.
Every new day, a new cluster of people come together and they clone their own interests. So as long as we are operating on several circles of interest, we can never achieve the national ideals we are looking for. The story you are talking about right now, somebody is going to benefit from those people that cannot be found. Somebody is benefiting from them.
Yeah.
Every night in Nigeria, there are negotiation tables. If you give me this, I give you this. You take this, I take this. So the ordinary man on the street does not understand what happens in the dark corners of the night.
That's right.
Sorry to say, I will use this term. We don't just have one government in Nigeria. Nigeria has multiple governments, clusters of government inside the government. So it's not necessarily the state, as you know it, that is ruling. People of interest, a very fearsome interest, they are defining and deciding the trajectory of our country. So as I speak to you, in a few days' time, there will be another news that will overshadow that. It will just give newsmen work to be doing.
Do you by any means feel that the insecurity Nigeria has been suffering has a little bit of political tone in it?
It doesn't have a little bit. It has 99% political undertone.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the biggest crisis that has befallen Nigeria is the political class. The new political culture that emerged from Nigeria is the biggest evil that has happened to Africa. And the political people decide, they are right now influencing our religious circle, they're influencing our security architecture, influencing our ethnic setting. So the political class, I want that is not just a little. They are the most dangerous set of human beings in Africa right now, the Nigerian political class. I can say it over and over again. It's a scientific research. They are powerful, they control the economy, they control every sphere. And recently, painfully, they have started infiltrating the religious institutions.
Right.
The religious institutions seem to be supposed to be our last line of defense. But right now, their languages are changing. If nobody stops this political culture that is eating deep, we are in trouble. Let's just leave it at that trouble. Because these people are driven by a witchcraft mindset of taking everything at the expense of everybody.
Actually, I think we are in trouble. We are in deep trouble already.
I'm being modest.
Yeah, we are in trouble. But what can we do? How do we get out of this trouble that we find ourselves in?
There is one element I want us to do. If you look at the issue of crisis itself, it's a business. War is a business.
Yeah.
So many people are benefiting from it. So they don't want it to fizzle out.
Yeah.
Benefits over humanity.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it's called the economics of terrorism.
Someone is producing weapons, someone is producing drugs.
Yes.
Coffin, boots, everything. Guns, aircrafts.
Now, let's look at the fact that Nigeria is in this maze of insecurity. And the same Nigerians are going out of the country to help other countries in insecurity. How do you classify that?
It's laughable. But in another sense, we're training our military, we're training the security forces. They go there, but there's a lot. What we're going through is asymmetric warfare. There's no boundary. So it makes it so difficult for even our military. So intelligence gathering has to be coordinated. If there's no synergy, you can't win that war. And that war starts from the home. Right from your home as a father, if you have a disciplined home, to permit into the whole society.
That's right.
If we have patriotic citizens, the whole country will be patriotic.
Right.
But if you have you as a leader who wants to steal, you want to acquire everything, at the detriment of the people, poverty will come in and need to chop up the whole thing. Okay. So we need to redefine our patriotism. Right. The word patriotism. Let's look at it. Are we disciplined as a nation? Nigeria is not disciplined. I remember 1985 when the president was head of state. A lot of things happened that time. If 3 drug pushers were shot that time, I thought when he came this time around, all these politicians that somehow they identified, they have stolen money. What has he done about it?
He came compromised.
So look at China. Look at China. In China, if you're still in China, they shoot you.
Yeah.
In Japan, you go and kill yourself.
Yeah.
So we don't have a template.
They chop off your arm or something.
We need to have a template for leaders. The leadership recruitment is faulty in Nigeria, and to be able to redefine that. we can't have a good Nigeria. But I have a hope, and I believe that Nigeria is a good country. Nigeria is a good country, but we just need a good leader now.
Yeah.
A good leader to change all this narrative.
Okay, and Nigeria is actually a good country.
Yes,
it's a great country, and
yes. We have
that
everything.
That is why when you see a Nigerian leaving the shores of this country, they get out there, they will be celebrated,
yes.
and But let's get back to talking about insecurity. Recently, or a few months back, where we had the prison break, Kuje prison break. And we're expecting to hear from the government, this is what it is like. Okay, we carry out investigation, and at this point in time, we've not gotten any feedback. No information. And secondly, we've not heard that, okay, this one is apprehended, this one is recaptured, and the rest of, there's no information. And now there is a bid on everyone. Does that look like a business? Does that look like, just giving Nigeria something to talk about, just like what you said, that in the next few hours you have something else to talk about, and we'll let this go.
Right.
How long do you think looking at these narratives will change anything?
Nigeria is a big entertainment stage. Very massive entertainment stage. And the political class have understood perception management.
Right.
When we throw this at them, they will be
they know how to
gullible.
manipulate
Then we
the
can
people.
tweak a little thing
Yes.
here.
Right.
Then when they are done with this, we bring another
something
one.
else.
And media practitioners like you are their first victims. Because once they give you a story, you bring us together, we talk like this, raise the dust. Tomorrow evening, there's another story that the vulture fell from the moon.
And sometimes we don't even have an opportunity to sit back again, because there are some comments you make, and someone will just come up with
something else.
It's a vicious circle of continual analysis, redefining, changing narratives and all that. Before you know it, they are achieving what they are achieving. I want to put it, you talked about the military right now. It's a hard statement, but it's like we don't have a military anymore. It's compromised. The
because
military
it's becoming more political.
Yes, the military you left behind it's not the same military. It is not. Because right now, an average soldier is economic oriented, is politically oriented. They are servicing other ideals within the military cadre. They are not serving the national interest. So if they give you an instruction, you do that. There are many intelligence flying out. But one thing these politicians have been able to do, with one press conference, they can shut anybody down. They can just tell you this is the direction the whole nation should follow. So right now, Nigeria goes out to solve problems, like you said. Yeah. We go to Liberia, go to Sierra Leone, and we cannot handle what is happening here. A military man told me something, a serving military man. He said if the president gives an instruction that by 25th of December, insurgency should end, that it will happen.
But he has promised, Kisha, you remember the president
I think there's so much in it. There's so much in it.
He had always said that by December, before the end of the year.
He needs to talk to the nation.
A television order,
a press conference,
from a political order. And sorry to say, Nigeria's problem is not leadership problem again. Because even if an angel comes from heaven and sits in Aso Rock, there is a system that will control that person. So it's a systematic warfare we are fighting. If we sit here and create a new system that doesn't allow, even if the devil sits there, he must behave. Yeah.
So when you say there's a system that is controlling whoever is in Aso Rock, are you making mention of the cabals?
Not even.
The
cabals are a component of the system. Yeah. The system is a very powerful system created by few men. With touch of a button, they can control what you do. Sorry to say, but I believe that in the last 7 years plus, Buhari has not been the one ruling Nigeria. It's a system.
Okay, let's get back to Doctor. Doctor, what do you make of these allegations? Because we listen to President Buhari speaking, assuring people, and that became like a slogan, assuring, I assure you, I assure you. What do you make of this allegation?
Well, the president is there. He rules through people too.
Okay.
Even in the U.S., ministers, if you have ministers that are competent, they carry out his orders. And it's supposed to be the same thing here. If the ministers, the vice president, which is an intellectual and is a seasoned politician, if they're doing the right thing, then the government is running. The president may be weak, maybe because of his health status, but I don't think he's all that weak that we can. If you're coming out, if you're out as a leader to say, okay, you are the president of Nigeria, you are the most powerful person in Nigeria. And that's why I keep saying he needs to come out and tell Nigerians what his vision is all about in Nigeria. What has done for this 8 years, or 7 years? What has it done for Nigeria? He must bring out his scorecard and tell people, this is what I've done. By keeping silent, people believe that the president is not, that people are ruling. A cabal is ruling. So people want to see their president. He needs to visit some areas. In U.S., let me use U.S. as an example. If there's a crisis in Benue, if there's a crisis in Bayelsa, the president is supposed to be there. If one soldier is killed, the president goes there.
Sure.
Our own doesn't visit like that. But our president to meet with the people and reassure them that he's in charge. If there's kidnapping, like what happened, the train kidnap, people visited him. He's supposed to have visited people. You visit areas that are the trouble areas in the country to reassure people that you're in charge.
All right.
It might even interest you to know, Doctor, that even during the flood, the crisis, the flood crisis all over the country, when it happened, he wasn't even in a country.
The federal government generally developed cold feet to really
even when he got back,
that.
he never visited any
what happened in
states.
Kogi and Bayelsa? No one spoke about it.
Right.
Now let's return back. David, do you see, based on this narrative, do you see Nigeria coming out strong to say, okay, we are getting the country of our choice?
That's a very sensitive question, Keisha. I don't see Nigeria coming out strong.
All right.
Except there's a disruptive event.
Okay.
The average Nigeria is a coward. Individually, we might be bold, but collectively, we are a bunch of cowards. We talk, but we can't do. A little project you need to execute, somebody will fight for money. So, I don't tire. I can't come and kill myself. That song is one of the most dangerous things that has happened to Nigerians. I can't come and kill myself. So it brings you to a threshold where you can't endure. Right now, politics is happening. We want to decide the next president, isn't it? And people believe that we should clamor for an alternative.
All right.
But I want to let you know that I was discussing with the general, there is what is called weaponized hunger. When hunger is weaponized, you just need to survive first before you talk about voting or no voting.
Exactly. We were talking about that the other day.
As I speak to you right now, this trend, this weapon, has engulfed every Nigerian. So the change or disruptive leadership or a new Nigeria we're talking about, it can only come through the right sacrifice. And right now, very few Nigerians want to make sacrifices.
So does it mean that the poverty we're facing now in Nigeria is like deliberate politically?
It was engineered. There's what they call engineered poverty. When somebody clones poverty and sends it, just the way you send thunder, a native doctor can send thunder. You can also send poverty. You can send hunger. And have you been hungry before? Where you people look very healthy. You don't look, in TVN, you guys are well fed. But if you've undergone hunger without food, sustained, continual, protracted hunger, you don't reason. No. You only respond and react instinctively for food. And that is what 80% of Nigerians are right now. So it's easy for an old politician or political elite to win the election, because if they tweak that weapon, it's more dangerous than a gun. And
don't you think, because I'm just looking at the other aspect of it, if hunger is being weaponized against the citizens, don't you also look at the fact that there's a way a hungry man is pushed to the word that it becomes so violent that the system is disrupted, and probably said, okay, let's go for the best candidate to take over from here, not just, okay, give me what to eat, and after that, they also relax.
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. How many people can do that when they are hungry?
Hungry men, hungry men
don't reason.
Yeah, they don't reason. So even if you push them to the wall,
their sense of reasoning has collapsed.
If you push them to the wall, they'll
fall. You know, Lizzie, I'm just disturbed because based on this narrative now, I'm forced to believe that we can't see that change. Even our generation, we can't see it. Because this morning, okay, last night rather, I was just thinking, some of the things we're actually battling here, these are the things our fathers actually battled and talked about day and night for the government to change, or a lot of things being introduced, policies being introduced into the systems that we're not there and they're not helping.
Yeah.
So today, again, we are sitting down here to talk about the same struggles, the same thing, and a lot of young people are getting into the same and bringing up their own ideas, which really don't help the system, get the system worse every day.
But Keisha, I would tell you that I think the times we are in is worse off than the times of our fathers. Yeah, probably they wanted better days. They wanted a better Nigeria, but as at then, Nigeria was not as bad as it is right now.
Okay,
even I can remember when I was growing up,
right.
Nigeria wasn't. I mean, how much was the naira to $1? Life was better. It was easier than what we are experiencing these days.
Let's get to also find out from Doctor. You know, you said something. You quickly. The first statement you gave, you talk about the 1984 or 1985 when President Buhari was actually in power, and the same Buhari is still in power right now today. Let's begin to look at the Nigeria of that time and the Nigeria of now. The aspect that you've been the retired military personnel, and based on this synopsis or the narratives we're given, do you see any change with the same people, with the same leadership, the same mindset, the same rule, the same policies, non-implementation of such policies? They sound good,
Right.
but they don't really give us what we're looking out for.
Right. I told someone about 2 days ago that if you look at what happened during the Murtala period, when Murtala took over, he sacked so many civil servants, directors, put in a lot. He created fear in them. And that, after Murtala, when Murtala left, General Obasanjo took over. I think he improved the system that before he handed over to Shagari.
Right.
When Babangida took over, corruption became institutionalized. And that corruption systematically has destroyed Nigeria. People are just waiting to pick what they can get from government. And that's why our politics today is hugely monetized.
Yeah.
That's why when you go to the village, you see people begging. You give them 200 naira, they celebrate you. And that is exactly what is going to happen very soon, maybe next year. People are waiting to collect money from politicians because structurally, we've not taken care of the grassroots. The local government, they are not working. The state government, they are not working. They come to Abuja every month to collect money. Until the state government are able to work and they generate their internal revenue, we cannot move forward. People are thinking of Abuja, there is money in Abuja. And Abuja, who is Asoro is the Abuja itself. That is the Abuja. And the National Assembly. You are paying a legislator a lot of money. Then you go back home, the grassroots, the youth are the one holding the whole thing now. 67 or 70% of that are youth that will come up for this election. It's going to be a painful experience for us. Until we're able to take care of the high employment situation, both graduate and then the younger ones that have not been able to go back to school. If we can't take care of that, the crisis we're talking about will continue. So we need a leader who is competent, who is ready to address those issues that are on the ground, so that Nigeria can move forward.
Okay. Sorry, Lizzie, you talk about the National Assembly, the kind of salaries they earn and the rest. You talked about that. David, I really like, before Lizzie stepping in there, I'd like you to just throw a bit light. We look at the narratives based on the ASU issue. Yesterday, ASU had a lecture-free day to protest half salary to them. Now, I don't see any justification paying them half salary because they were not in the class. What happened to the National Assembly? Do they go to the chamber every day? Why are they receiving full salaries? How many days do they go to the office? What do they discuss in the National Assembly? Is it in the interest of Nigerians? If it's in the interest of Nigerians, how many times have we seen the bills passed, the law passed in favor of Nigerians? So I don't know how justified they are to actually pay them half salary when there are other people who don't work but they earn.
Keisha, you know, at this, like Elizabeth said, I'm right?
Yes.
We are in trying times.
All right.
Very sensitive times. And this is not just to look good on television.
Right.
We are really in trying times. And one of the biggest problems we have right now is we have suddenly been cloned to becoming wicked people.
Right. Right.
Our ideologies, our philosophies, our policies, they are wickedness oriented.
I agree. I totally agree with you.
If you're a wicked person, if I hate you, I don't like you, any decision I'm making towards you, even to your dog and your cat, must be evil.
Right.
This is what we are seeing every day. So let's not give it big words. This political culture that is being cloned is wired by wickedness. Let's get this guy, deal with him. Let me tell you, everything happening with ASU or no ASU, they are targeting a political cluster.
Right.
Every battle fought in Nigeria right now is aimed at political activities. If they want to, in their sane mind, make decisions, they won't make the decisions they are making right now.
But it's seeming as if we are getting close to a standstill.
No, we are not getting close to a standstill. We are already in a standstill. Under the water, we are in a standstill. It's just the surface you are seeing dramatic activities. We are currently in a standstill. Do you know what Nigerians want? The day you pack your family, back your children, and be running on the streets that there is crisis coming. That's when we will know that we are really in crisis. We pray it doesn't happen. But before that does not happen, something else has to happen.
Okay.
It's scary, but it's true.
The issue of universities in Nigeria, let's just look at it. If you look at the universities, even in the U.S., government has control over 2 universities, Howard University and then Columbia University.
Yeah.
Can't our government release everything? Let the governing council manage the university. Why are the private universities thriving?
Yes, thriving.
They are coming at them very soon.
If we can allow the private university
they are coming at, give the next 3-4 years, there will be one policy that will truncate the sanity of the private university. One policy.
They're having a field day.
Do you think that will work? Because most of them that frustrate the public universities, they go back to establish the private universities.
Anything these people want to do seem to work.
All right.
It's like it will take God to stop them.
Like they get what they want.
They get what they want. The political class is a force to reckon with. I'll say it 1,000 times over and over. If I sit with an average politician that has been compromised, has been in politics for the last 5 years, I am careful. I am careful because they can shift. They are shifters.
All right.
They can evolve into a monster instantly, but they are laughing with you. So they are powerful.
Right.
If we realize your enemies, you can know the weapon to use.
Yeah.
Okay, Kisha, before we move out of the insecurity, I quickly want to ask Dr. Ako, you who have been inside as a retired military personnel, the military has been overstretched. Okay, they have gone so lean and thin with this insecurity that has been lavishing the nation. Okay, and their welfare, they are not properly catered for. We just said a while ago that even when they die, when they are killed in the line of duty, it's hardly announced. Most times their family even hardly finds out. They are not honored the way they ought to be, and it's demoralizing to those that are still out there, that are still protecting us, fighting to ensure that we can close our eyes and sleep in peace in the country. So what do you think? How, even these days, a lot of people are afraid to be recruited into the military, into the army. What's your take on this? And what's the way forward?
People are not afraid to be recruited. The problem is that the recruitment into the military today is the employment opportunity for some people.
All right.
National Assembly, someone gives a paper, take this person. During our time, it wasn't like that. If you don't have interest to join the military, you can't go in there.
Right.
You go in to train as a professional. But someone gives you a paper to go in. That means they're giving you employment. They give you employment. You may not be patriotic when you are serving. You may not love the profession. I hope you understand. But the moment you get a note from the minister, you get a note from a member, you get a note from a senator or from a governor, it is employment opportunity. The military needs to be strengthened. We need a strengthened military. You need to equip them properly. And there has to be a political will to allow the chief of defense staff and the service chiefs to work. If you do that, we have one of the best armed forces in Africa. Nigeria is one of the best. But you must give them their tool. Like what you mentioned, when a soldier is killed or when an officer is killed, there is honor. You have to honor them, honor him. His entitlement has to be paid. If you do that, others who want to join the force, they'll be happy. So when there is a need for a political will to equip them, is it tanks? Is it aircraft? Is it ships? Is it training? Is it intelligence gathering? Is it training abroad or outside? Comparative training for them. If you do that, they will give you the best. We are one of the best armed forces. The problem is just a political will. The president giving them what they want. I'm not speaking for that. I left service about 30 years ago.
Oh, 30 years ago.
I left service about 30 years ago, and that's my constituency.
Right.
Anywhere I go, I defend it. We were trained in India very well. I went to India in 1976. It's a long time.
Wow.
The training was
That
okay.
was as a result of you having the desire.
Yes, I had a desire of going in. I went in as a cadet.
Okay.
1976, and I trained, and I left service.
Wow.
So if you do, we package the same thing for them, give them what they want. Like in US, even Russia, even Ukraine. Look at the war they're fighting. If you train them, kill them well, they will go and fight. Their morale is very important.
Right.
Their
Okay.
morale.
All right, it's been a wonderful time having this great personality talking about a lot of stories trending in Nigeria. And Elizabeth, we have this another funny story coming up from Oshun. You know, recently we heard about the fire outbreak and we listened to the INEC officials giving a lot of, report that, okay, they had a lot of things, damages and the rest
during the course of the fire.
During the course of the fire. And some curiosity pushed a lot of people to find out from the INEC staff in Oshun. They said there was nothing destroyed, that the fire just ended only at the reception. That is where the fire took place. And we are asking ourselves, I didn't want to just take it like that, but I need to just also look out for, we have a lot of persons talking about the same thing, the fire occurred or took place, the incident took place at the reception.
Yeah.
So was the INEC material stored at the reception?
Okay, I know that there's been a lot of attacks on the INEC offices nationwide, and insecurity attacking them, their offices and all that. But I don't know I'm not so sure about that over sure. I know there was one that happened in Edo, where even it was on TV, so that even their gen sets, portals, putting boxes, bonds, the whole building almost came down. So I don't know if the one in Oshun specifically that you're talking about that said it was only just the reception. This one of the headlines this morning says something about government not turning Nigeria into Afghanistan because of the attacks that the INEC has been getting its officials and its offices. I think is a cause for alarm, if you ask me. Doctor, what's your take on that?
I think the INEC, we have just about 3 months to the election. This is the time they're supposed to improve their security, especially of material they're going to use. And they should be able to come out, the Commissioner for Information should come out and let the nation know exactly the extent of attack. But there should be a way how they will secure all those equipment that will be used in February. If they don't do that, then they are part of the problem. They need to have an in-house security.
Okay, all right. Before we wrap up on this segment and go on a short break, we'll definitely have another opportunity to talk about this idea of Soludo. I don't want to use the word I had in mind to, say that
Soludo to Obi.
Yeah, Soludo to Obi. Again, on the trending stories today, says that he's not ready to listen to any bully, but what he's saying is that Obi cannot win
the 2023 elections. Yeah, he said that.
And that already is disrupting the whole system.
And he advised the Indian to consult either PDP or APC on whom to support in the presidential election.
Again,
it's funny when the Igbos have been clamoring for a president, and this is happening. It seems as if they're always fighting each other.
And told you the force to fear is the political cluster. They know what to say. One press statement and they can cripple structures you are building. This is what is happening right now. Wait till January, you will see their onslaught. Some are just reserving their arsenals. Listen, even
so they are warming up.
Yes, even the Western world, they are amazed at Nigeria's political protocol. How Nigerians if a Nigerian politician goes abroad and is allowed into the political space, he can disrupt the sanity you see there.
Exactly.
I don't know how they got it, how they cloned it, how they managed it, how they carried out the effectiveness of their operation, but it's very powerful. So if somebody like Soludo is making a statement like that, Soludo is operating under another canopy.
So being influenced, not recognizing the fact that he is the governor of the state.
No.
And now look at some of the stuff he mentioned that has to do with Obi leaving so much money in a government process.
Yeah.
That alone is questionable. And some of the people actually question the last
Willie
Obiano that he left nothing with the government. So
you are celebrated.
And so what are we looking at for? The man who left the money,
or the one that
and
left
the one
nothing.
who ate everything.
Right.
So maybe we'll still talk about that when we return.
You know, I first mentioned that they are not permanent friends or enemies, but permanent interests.
Okay.
And I think that is the angle Soludo is good. I read his message this morning around 4.
Okay.
I read it, the whole thing.
All right, we also be going on a short break, and when we return from there, we get to have all the discussion taken this morning. First of all, we've been able to look at some of the trending stories all around the world. We have a lot to talk about when it has to do with Nigeria, full of stories, dramas, and of course, we can't just finish Nigeria talk just in a day.
Right.
All right, so when we return from there, we look at the aspect that we are dealing with seriously as we get ready for general election. Well, what do you classify as hate speech? We've been talking about that. And going by this is going to push us away from the normal to buy into the political narrative where speak in the language they understand. Probably most people may not be able to speak up, but they rather give money because most people understand the language of money because poverty and hunger is being weaponized against Nigerians. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
Hello Nigerians, coming to you today is a street walk to know the opinion of the people about their fundamental human rights. Do have a listen.
John Agalanga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to meet you, sir.
Meet you. Nice to meet you too. Yeah.
So I want you to briefly tell us what you understand about
human rights basically means a right that belongs to everyone. Like, for example, a right to speak, a right of freedom, and a right to move about. There are so many of them that I cannot mention all now. Yeah.
So of these rights you have as a human, has anyone been violated?
Well, definitely. The current issues in the country right now, especially what the youths are experiencing. I think once in a while, there was a time I was traveling to Benue, and a policeman stopped our vehicle, and he asked me to bring down my bag. Actually, it was we were about 2 guys in the car, so they selected us out. So they asked me to bring down my bag, and then the policeman asked me to hand over my phone. And of which of course we know that he doesn't have any right to search my phone. But the people in the vehicle were begging me that I should just hand over my phone, because he also threatened to smash my phone on the floor if I don't. So I just had to hand over my phone so that I don't get into more troubles. So that's it. Yeah. So often and on, we get violated of our rights. Yeah.
And do you think the government reckon with you on this?
Well, you know, the way the country is now, it actually depends on, you know, one thing is for you to know your rights, and then secondly is who are the appropriate bodies to meet. Understand? And some of the times, if you don't have people who you meet or people who can direct you on what to do, you're left with no choice than to just leave everything to God. So that's just it.
I'm here to ask you what you understand by human rights.
Human rights. Human rights based on whom you are and what you are. That is your right. The right to be a Nigerian. The right to be wherever you find yourself. Okay? That's what I know about human rights.
Thank you. So, do you think your right has been violated in any way as a human being?
No. You know, in we country now, we don't value our rights because the things we are, Nigeria today is no more like things we see yesterday. Things are not going well now. That's why I become a welder, because I cannot base upon what a human being will give me. So I have my own handwork. That's why I'm doing it now.
What I understand by human right is you should know your right and nobody should tamper with your right. You know, this is what you deserve, and somebody is trying to deny you of it. I think that's what I understand about someone wants to tamper with my. That's what I understand about human right.
Okay. So as an adult, has anyone infringed your rights before?
Not really. No one has ever. Even someone do, I will not let the person, because I believe I know what my right is.
Not even the government policies?
Well, we can't fight the government. With the government, I can't say about the government because you cannot fight government. I'm just saying as a fellow human being, I can't allow you to march on my right. But talking of the government, I don't know what to say about that.
But is everything okay with you? All of the government policies, do you think they are all fine?
I don't think anybody in this country will say everything is fine. No. We are just living. Nigeria are just strong people. We are just living. We are just surviving. That's just it.
Well, you've heard the views of Nigerians. Some are of the opinion that their rights cannot be violated, while some others are of the opinion that in one way or the other, their rights have been violated. In light of this, we appeal to the government that in making their policies, they should make it at least favorable for Nigerians. I am Beauty Akborido from Television Nigeria. Have a good day.
All right, thank you, Beauty Akborido, for that wonderful voice pop. It's been a very exciting one. Get to hear from Nigerians what is really happening, because it's not just all about we're sitting here and having our own opinions. We need to also listen to Nigerians right there. Okay, welcome back on our program. This is still the Daybreak Africa on Television Nigeria. Having great personalities here talking about a lot of stories that you need to know, trending stories. Okay, let's return back. We had a lot of discussions, right? And the segment was actually amazing because we have great people talking about different stories. Before we get to have this next segment talking on the hate speech aspect, we're looking at the pitfalls, hate speech, and also
fake
news in democracy.
Yeah.
But before then, can we quickly just have a little discussion? Have we seen hate speech? It's just between you and myself now. Lizzie, have you seen hate speech?
Yeah.
Or you've listened to one?
We hear,
okay.
we hear, we listen to hate speech amongst politicians, I would say, lately, even though they haven't gotten them, it's not 100% running yet.
Right.
But yeah, we began to hear some words that are discriminatory, inciting, and all that. Example, when the presidential candidate of the PDP had told his kinsmen in the north that they shouldn't vote in Yoruba.
So that was hate speech?
For me, I would say.
Okay.
I don't know, Doctor, if you agree. I don't know if you agree with me, Doctor and Mr. David, if that's, you don't see that as hate speech.
No, before you look, because your opinion is maybe different from
That's
his,
why I'm asking them, for their opinion. For me,
I
I
think
would
the whole
say.
thing was just interpretation.
Okay.
I watched the video.
All right.
He told them at that forum that he was very competent and he counseled them they should vote for him.
Right.
But they shouldn't vote for other candidates that are clamoring because they are from a certain ethnic group.
Right.
So that is the difference with what I
think that sounds a bit better than what people get to talk about.
Yes. People didn't. I watched the film, I watched that video, and I listened to it thoroughly. I discovered that was not what he said.
All right.
He said he is from the north and he's more competent. They should vote for him because he's a competent northerner.
Okay, reminding the people
yes,
of
reminding them that he has bridges across the whole country.
Right.
He has bridges. He has built bridges across the whole country. I know that he's coming because he's from the north. That he has built bridges across the country. They should look at him passionately on that aspect. And that other candidates are looking at themselves as representing a different nationality, right. Not the Nigeria.
So you don't see that as hate speech?
No, I don't look at it as
hate speech. Based on the interpretation he's giving now.
Me as a media person, I don't look at it as a hate speech.
Okay.
Because that is exactly what we're going to be seeing in the next 2 months.
All right.
Okay. So
yes. There are key words,
all right,
that make a part of a statement that can qualify it as a hate speech,
right?
As a hate speech. There are words that are strong. Now, do you know in some television stations you are watching a particular movie, when you want to use a particular word, they mute you.
Right.
You get the point?
Right.
And recently, even on Instagram and Facebook, there are some words you type. They can mute you.
Yes. Yes.
So in Nigeria, which word constitutes hate speech? It is not spelled out. It is not defined. So as far as it's not spelled out or defined, we still don't have any case about hate speech. Because if I tell you, Keisha, I don't like you because I don't like your hairstyle,
right?
You can cry out that is a hate speech, but I really don't like your hairstyle. So shouldn't I not like something? Or we can say we should not make our dislike public. But I think if you look at it critically, when you go out on public television, public platform, and tell somebody he's an idiot, if you tell somebody he's an animal, like recently, I don't know if your station permits us to call names. This we are discussing.
Yeah, definitely.
The drama between Dino and
Keyamo.
Not even Keyamo. Fani Kayode.
Okay. All right.
I'm so disappointed by those people because they are the fathers of, they are people's father. I can't imagine somebody like Dino
if that's
and this
not
man.
Hatred, what is that?
That is not just hate speech, it's terrorism.
Exactly.
Right? Those people should be arrested and sanctioned because they are setting a precedence that it becomes a norm. We won't have a state called Nigeria. The types of Dino and Kayode and their cluster, they are the evil that has befallen.
And they actually represent people.
They are the mouthpiece of a political party.
Yes.
And nobody is saying anything about it. The media community is not saying anything about it. That's why Nigeria will be where it is. Because if somebody like Dino will come and use some dirty words over this, then this one will stage his own, use another dirty words.
Like children, like
we
kids.
are not a civil society if we tolerate something like that. I thought the pastors, the imams would come out and shut those two men down, but they are afraid.
But will they be heard even if they do?
If Bishop Oyedipo or Adeboye comes out on Redeem one day and say, who said that? Don't say it again. What will happen? When you have power and you don't use it, it's like you're powerless.
Talking about religion, since you brought in religion into the matter. Okay, a fortnight ago, Benue State Governor Samuel Otom also made a statement when he was talking when they inaugurated the campaign body of the PDP in Benue, and he was so angry that he said, what was this he said about Atiku Abubakar? And he said to hell, exactly, with Atiku Abubakar and to his ethnic group where he came from, okay, for his tribe where he came from. And also, the same Dino you are talking about came out castigating Autumn and brought religion into the matter. I was saying that Autumn is a Christian. He ought not to have used such words. Meanwhile, you just spoke about his display, funny and shameful display he had with Femi Fani-Kayode.
Dino has his good side, but recently Dino has evolved into a tout. But I personally want to condemn what Governor Otom said. You can't say to hell with anybody.
That was hate speech.
Thank you.
Yes.
Those kind of words qualify for hate speech. Now, for some,
and don't you think that there are platforms, there are systems introduced into Nigeria political arena that they no longer consider within the political class. There is no hate speech. Within the political class. Now, you're counting, you're looking at ordinary Nigerians, like they always call ordinary Nigerians. These are the people that the laws are made for, that you don't have to use them on the political class. But within the political class, there's no such thing.
Kisha, you are back to my point.
Right.
This man can set up a system that favors only them. You don't make hate speech, I can make hate speech. That is what is obtainable. And if we understand what hate speech is, one, if a hate speech is properly managed, it can start a civil war.
It can.
I use the word properly managed.
Right, that is the pitfall of hate speech.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, every war you ever see fought started with a statement. Somebody said what he wasn't supposed to say at the wrong time in the wrong place.
Not being sensitive enough.
Wars are not started
and
with
held
guns.
on unto that. Yes.
No war was ever started with a gun. It was started by a statement.
So, like what he said, the state of activism, that is what is happening.
Right.
What the governor of Benue said, there's anger, his pain. What happened in Benue? So, job turned into what I call identity crisis, identity situation. The moment you look at a tribe, they've caused pain in your community. You feel that pain. And all the utterances he made was because they killed so many people, about 2 weeks in Benue. 26 people and then 6 people. Who will not be angry? He was angry at that moment. But as a leader, he would have controlled himself. So the politicians, that thing is pejorative, is discriminative. Because in terms of appointment, if you see someone from that tribe that comes around, he will discriminate against you. Right. And it has, at the national level, that is exactly what is being played out. We need to control ourselves morally where something is wrong with us. We need to go back to God. We brought in a religion. We've completely removed God from what we're doing. And that's why we're behaving anyhow. If you as a father, you can talk anyhow to another father, your children are watching you.
That, yeah.
Right.
Your children are watching you.
Yeah.
It's just, you are sowing a seed, and that seed will come back to you. When they misbehave somewhere, you can't correct them. So we need to be guided. As leaders, we have to be morally upright when we're communicating with people. All right. It's a personal word when you send it out. A word, you can't collect it back.
Yeah.
Especially in the media. And the media, we need to monitor all this. Can the media in Nigeria monitor them? No. It's going to be very, very difficult for us. Because people are holding this handset and they are spreading information. You cannot control it. We need to have a monitoring agency in the media to do that.
All right, looking at this subject, hate speech, from this aspect where we've been able to look at it, we're talking about the pitfalls of hate speech in the system we find ourselves, and also looking at the fake news in a democratic system of government. Now, we just try to see what we can make from the hate speech, but let's look at fake news. Lizzie. Which one is fake news and which one is real news? And where is fake news coming from?
Fake news is fake news. Fake
Okay.
news means that
It's
something,
fake.
yeah, that's not true, that is untrue.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what is fake. When you make statements or,
Yeah.
or spread the news that you are not so sure of the source, of the authenticity,
Right.
or from where that news came from, and you go spreading it around that this is what it is. Meanwhile, that's not the real issue.
Okay, fake
Then
news is
that's
fake news.
Fake. Yes, fake news is
Fake
fake.
news is fake news.
For us in the media, for us in the media, I tell my students you have to be balanced. You must verify your information.
Yeah, verify.
You must verify.
And the
As
source,
an editor,
the source also matters.
Yes, the
Yes.
source is very important.
Yeah.
As an editor, you must verify your sources. And these sources, they are key to making your media house a better media house. They will make you have a cutting edge in terms of new presentation, in terms of your writing. When you go out, people know that is the name of that media house. They respect you because of that.
Okay, talking about media house, yesterday NBC Arise.
Yeah.
So they were Arise News, like we heard, were fined. Okay,
Fined 2 million,
2 million
as a
naira.
result of the
You
document.
just find
Yes.
because you want to find. You have to investigate.
So how do we categorize that fine? Was it a fake news?
Because it's over the document, the
Yes.
information
From
the Right.
from the presenters. And we look at that. They were not the origin. This information wasn't coming from them. It's their responsibility to receive information, verify the information, know the source of the information, and do the same to the public. Right. All the documents regarding Tinubu and the rest never emanated from Nigeria.
Definitely.
It's not from Nigeria.
Yes.
So if you try to help Nigerians to say, okay, this is what is really going on. And of course, what they do to Mr. A, they do it to Mr.
Yeah.
B. So what is really particular about this very story of going as far as finding a TV station as a result of one man? That information is everywhere regarding the story.
For me,
Yeah.
if you look at the whole thing, it's political interest.
All right. Okay. I think Mr. David has already summarized it
Yes, he has
before
concurred.
before that.
If you look at the U.S., the Republicans, they control certain media houses.
That's right.
The same thing with the Democrats.
Absolutely.
And after the election, you discover at the end that it's the media that declares the result. So they have a trust, they have a media you can fall back on. Our own media is divided. I saw an apology from Dr. Abati.
About right.
Yes. So, and that is honorable. If you are not an honorable media house, you chunk out fake news. If you don't respect people, I say honor begets honor. I hope you understand. If you don't do that, it's going to continue like that. But this punitive measure maybe is to restrain them, to ensure that they slow down. Because we are going to have more of this crisis between now and February. There's going to be more of fake news. People are there to damage your image, to destroy your image. So how can you redeem it? So that is exactly what the press is going to go through. We must have a watchdog, an ombudsman within the media itself, to check the media itself. Who is checking the media? And who is paying the media? Because there is hunger even in the media. I hope you understand.
Right.
I tell my students, the media is thriving in the US because they are being paid well. So if you do that to the media, they will give you the best, and they won't give you fake news.
Okay, I know Mr. David has something to say as far as
at what point is a news fake? If it's half truth, is it fake?
that was going to come to that.
True.
That
If
was
it's
it really
half-truth.
fake
That is
or
not
it
true.
wasn't
That is not
properly
true.
That's not true.
investigated?
Yes.
That's not
If
true.
it's half
If it's-
truth, is it true? Because
not true. It's
most
not
of
true.
our news materials now, they are doctored.
It must be
That's
the
speculative.
truth must be
Very
absolute.
doctored.
Speculative.
So at the end of the day, you can't really point which one is fake or which one is not fake. But like you said, fake news is going to be weaponized.
Right, yeah.
As a matter of fact, perception seems to be stronger than truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
True.
truth runs with time.
Yeah.
Perception is instantaneous.
Yeah.
So if you have good perception managers that can tell any story they want to tell, the average Nigerian can believe it for 4 days. Before then, damage has been done.
Yes.
When the truth comes out, it's very difficult to reconcile with it. So like you said, Doctor, it's a very powerful weapon. So I'm thinking if one thing to complain something is wrong, I think we should have a news police, a social media police.
Yeah.
This police, they vet whether something is true or not.
Yeah.
If they make it wrong, the news is wrong. If they make it right, it is right.
Mm.
They are independent. They don't generate their own news. They only authenticate a news, a story.
Right.
So if we have a neutral body like a news police, media police.
Do you think that would be Nigerians or
maybe from NUJ or
no,
Guild of Editors?
It can be Nigeria. I think
a certain agency.
I think when I leave here, I will talk to your producer. Let's start it.
Yeah.
A news police that vets, authenticates, endorses, approves, qualifies, determines, defines any story. Because I pick your word. When somebody means you now and say Keisha is a terrorist, and he paints the story well.
Right.
If fake news is properly sponsored, it will go further and wider than good news, than truth. So if somebody that is a politician has 1 billion and he throws it out on a fake news, it can damage, cripple a system, a process. Before you recover, you are gone. But if we have a checkmating police system, a media police system, they can say, no, this is wrong. So every news, before we come out every morning to listen to any of this thing, it should pass through the corridor of the news police. So if the news police does not vet it.
Exactly.
Right.
But the town hall meetings that have been going on with the presidential candidates, the ones that Rise have been organizing, there is a group that verifies what all the statements they make. So you're talking about
that's a good one, but that is customized to debate. Can we have something static and constant?
Yes.
So we have media police. This media police, their work is to checkmate even government-owned media. This thing say this your news, we score it 40%. It is not perfect. So any news that doesn't go beyond 85%, because you can't have absolute truth.
Right.
Because truth keeps unfolding. It's dimensional.
Yes.
So any news that doesn't cross 80% should be marked as fake news.
What do you make of this, Doctor? Because I just love this. I love this personally. I love this. But the idea of the political class interfering with this, is it not there? Because we've had a lot of commissions, have a lot of committees giving the authority, the powers to act in their capacity to make sure that, okay, this is your vision, this is your focus, what you have to do. But much later you see the politicians say, okay, you take this, make the story the way I want it, and of course,
like
if
said,
the news,
if fake news is sponsored,
it's sponsored and spread widely than any other news. What do you think will happen when the political class get hold of that?
I think like what we discussed earlier, I told him, look, we're going to have, I call it psychological warfare.
All right.
The propaganda that is going to come now.
Right.
Dirty, it's going to be dirty throughout from now to February. And do we have records of all our candidates, like what they have in the US? They must have a track record. If you are talking about one candidate, you must have a track record of all the dirty deals the person has gone through. Because that is going to form, they have media, they have campaign teams. Right. Their campaign teams are supposed to have everything about them. But the opposition, they are using it against, the propaganda is going to be against, is going to be very dirty. The president candidate can't have hold over what is going to happen. Right. It's going to be problematic. Problematic in the sense that you may not be able to have the reach of the other president candidate. You don't know what he has in store to destroy you. Right. So there is going to be a lot of distraction, disruption, because people are ready to damage. I won't call it damage control. People are ready to destroy. There will be a lot of hate speech very soon, and it's going to come. But how can we monitor it? That is my fear. Right. It's going to be more. It's going to be more of that.
Okay, before we go on a short break, let's get back to David, because you brought up that. Do you think this can be monitored? And when fake news is spotted, can they be punishable measures taken? Because one of the challenges we have in Nigeria is that there is no punishment for any crime committed in Nigeria. Yeah. Do you think that can be in place?
You just said it. Nigeria, criminals
go free.
They're celebrated.
Yeah.
It takes the law of life and God himself to punish the conscience to get at you.
Yeah.
But for something like a media police, you don't need to be punished. Just once people know consistently that your news is marked fake, your credibility drops.
Yes.
That's all. When next you cease to say Nigerians, yesterday they say fake news. Imagine you have a station that is like maybe CNN, for instance, and the media police in Nigeria marks it fake news up to 5 times.
No, listen to them.
Your reputation goes down. So that is the punishment.
I think you need to talk to the producer of this program so we can actually, because I love this. Yes. I think
during the time of Trump, the CNN actually carried a lot of false news.
He dropped the.
And then they were tagged as an anti-Trump.
Yes.
So
I am the IG of the. Media police now, Inspector General of the media police.
The White House rep was removed from, the Senate rep was removed during the Trump period.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've reached that level here. If we do it here, they will look at you as if you are discriminatory, or they don't represent your interests, and it's a big thing we need to look at, that aspect.
Okay.
Yes, there's discrimination.
All right, so Lizzie, we're getting another office anyway.
Why not?
Yeah. So
why not?
Yeah, fake news police officers. You know, that sounds good.
It sounds very good.
Yeah, looking
you.
That's if NUJ can start that. NUJ is there. That's a big regulatory body.
Yeah, NUJ is powerful enough.
Yes.
That is why I actually said the producer of this program can actually reach out to the authorities concerned,
the right authorities,
to work with them and make sure that this is, because this is going to save a lot of stuff. When you get to hear somebody like we talk about Dino Melai, and we also saw what happened in one of the interviews they had, Dino and Keyamo.
I was even going to say Keyamo has been saying a lot of inciting words also.
So
they're all activists, the two of them.
Right.
So they can verbalize anything.
Right.
They can say anything.
Keyamo should know better because he's a lawyer. And when I see him the way he does,
they're all lawyers.
What he says,
all of them, they're all lawyers, but they're activists.
All right, so
I think calling them activists, you are doing them honor.
A very big honor. Right?
Activists are people that fight for other people.
Yes, they're honorable
These
people.
People are people fighting for themselves.
For themselves.
So
okay.
That title of activist.
They need to be honorable. That is the word. They need to be honorable.
What are they fighting for?
Fighting for their pocket.
And secondly, when you listen to the point, the arguments they always come up with, you get to ask yourself, what is this argument all about? What is the subject matter?
The argument is about power.
Power is about power. And this power to be given to the wrong person, someone who cannot deliver, someone that has been part of the problem in Nigeria. So what are we going to do? But let's quickly go on a short break, and when we return from that short break, we quickly look at the rest of the stories. Well, we still have amazing people right here to talk about the trending stories and this aspect of the pitfalls, hate speech, and fake news that we have. And of course, I got a very big one today that I'll be working on, talking about the news police. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
Good day, people. Today we are out on the street again to know the opinion of Nigerians on what they think about our politicians and their campaign policies. Keep watch.
It is of God that the issue will be resolved, because without God, I don't think we will succeed. So we need to add God. That is only what I see in this country, because looters are many. And everybody know about this corruption of a thing, but nobody is fighting against. So we believe maybe Peter Obi will come and deliver us. May I see Peter Obi as a God sent to this nation, so that our economy can boost a little. Look at about how dollar is today. You see dollar is about 700 to 800. So where are we going to? Small. So that's what I see.
They should treat it the way it's supposed to be, and to avoid all these crises, they should not look at politics as a do or die affairs. But it should be a representative government, and after getting the power, they should try to remember that as I am inside this position, there are people that voted me into the power. I'm not the one that go there by myself. So people's problem, people's suffering should be considered.
Well, our Nigerian politicians, all of them, they are the same. They like, that's what they call copycat. They will just see one policy from somewhere, they will just copy, but to implement it, they don't. So I see them, all of them, as the same person, the same character, everything. Because where I stay, I pay for all the utility bills, like I pay for my light, and we know there's no stable light in Nigeria. We run our generator 24/7, and the water, we are not using the pipe-borne water that the government is supposed to provide for us. We have a borehole in our compound, which when the pumps spoil, we contribute money to buy. I trained myself in school. So since I was born, I have not benefited anything from the government. So there's nothing. So that's why I'm saying I'm a government on my own. Because virtually everything I'm the one providing for myself.
Actually, this about our Nigerian politician, or let me say this incoming presidential election. To my belief and to my hope, I believe there will be a new Nigeria by 2023, and by this Labour Party candidate. That is the person I'm hoping for, and by the grace of God, there will be a new Nigeria in him.
Having heard from Nigerians, there's a glaring despondency in the minds of majority. We therefore urge our Nigerian politicians to please maintain integrity, especially in the forthcoming general elections come 2023. Beauty Akbaridu from Television Nigeria. Please enjoy the rest of your day.
Hello there, welcome back. Thanks for being there. We're still here discussing the pitfalls of hate speech and fake news. We still have with us in the studio Dr. Ako, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
And Mr. David, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, at this point, I would like us to look at how these hate speeches and fake news, you know, the kind of harm and damage they can do to us as far as our democracy.
They can, or they are doing. Yeah.
Okay, that they are doing to us as far as our democracy is concerned. But very quickly, I would like us to look at, take a quick look at this scenario. Initially, when this insecurity thing started in Nigeria, a particular tribe were being identified. When a community is attacked and you ask them, they tell you this is the tribe. This is the language is spoke all over, okay? So for that reason, yeah, there are other tribes that partake in criminality in the country, okay? And but for the fact that that particular tribe, majorly, people had their confession that they were the ones that had attacked them or that were attacking them. So they are like tagged as terrorists.
Yeah.
We are discussing hate speech and fake news. How would you categorize this? Would you would you consider it hatred for that ethnic group, or do you think when they say it, it's like a hate speech against them, or fake news rather?
For me as a media person, I don't look at it as hate speech. You are telling the truth. If you arrest them and you know they are speaking a certain language, and you've identified them, that's another way of telling the security, look, these are the people that are involved in criminality.
All right.
But when you sit down and just categorize it and say these are the people that did it, and you've not arrested any of them, then that is going to be a double jeopardy for us. But if you look at the hate speech itself, all these talks that are going to be recruited by politicians, they will spread the news that this person is bad, and the moment it goes around the whole community, when they see you come into campaign, they know that you are a bad person. You know, the moment you continue to tell a story and do it repeatedly, it stands within the local community.
Right.
Because there is no way you can go back there and clean it up.
Right.
So many talks are going to be recruited because of maybe 1,000 or 500 naira to go and do harm to many people there. And that is going to create, it's already, a scenario has been created because you pay them, you told them what to go and do. So they go and spread the lies out there. But the issue of identity crisis you've mentioned, one of the chairmen of the political parties mentioned that they recruited foreigners to come and create confusion in Nigeria. What has happened to them? Have we repatriated them? Nigeria needs to go out. We need to see how we can identify foreigners.
And that statement alone was enough for the government or for the authorities concerned to get that person arrested and say, okay, you need to be questioned. You need to give Nigerians explanation. Why should this happen? Okay, have you achieved your main purpose of bringing these people? If you have you returned these people back to where they came from?
They couldn't return them, and that is exactly the harm we're having today. That is the problem we're having today, and it's going to be a big problem for us.
Right.
We need one issue is this. Can we have a track record of foreigners in the country? If you've gone to UK, they continue to monitor. Even Dubai, they monitor it.
That's right. Yeah.
In Nigeria, we don't monitor foreigners. Even in our local community, we see them roam around. They don't have identity. Look at even keke and pep, even motorcycles. Can't we register motorcycles? During the 60s and 70s, motorcycles were registered. That can be a source of revenue even for the local government.
Right.
If you see a motorcycle with that number, you know these are higher people. I told you on the way when we were coming. I said, oh, this one, a majority of them are Boko Haram people. Because if there's a crime scene, you'll see all of them there. The same thing with keke and pep. And they are not registered. We need to have toll gates too within the city. Sorry, I'm going back to the issue of security.
Yeah.
Because if our country is not secured, the election is going to be a problem for us.
It is.
And to secure our communities, we can't have peaceful election. The election will be taken over by talks. Someone can come in there, like these people identify. They can come in and disrupt the election, and nothing happens with them.
And they will say they are not Nigerians.
Yeah, and they will tell you they are not Nigerians, and no one will arrest them. And even if they are arrested, after some time, they will leave them to go.
All right, David, what do you make of this?
Okay, everything is connected.
Right.
Nothing is isolated.
Right.
Everything is connected to everything. So there's nothing isolated in life. If you say hello in your compound in the morning, it can send a signal that you will meet when you come back. If you say una head, all of una decrease, it will meet a signal when you come back. So in managing these realities and seeing what the damage is causing right now, if you wake up one day and you make a statement profiling a set of people,
yes,
right, there are going to be fallouts, whether you like it or not. Now, the point is, our society itself is not ready for some certain measure. They are not ready for some certain statements. We don't know how to manage certain statements. So, if you look at Nigeria, the Nigerian community generally, Nigerian community is an infant community because we are emotional. Right. We just like emoting. We don't reason. So if you bring intellectual materials out, it's waiting down and they talk. Our food. So the generality of Nigerians just like to be entertained. Right now, go out to the street there and just shout, hey, make una come see lion wey get forehead. If there's no lion there, you just see people leave what they are doing and come down. Because of the stress, everybody wants to be entertained. So that is what these politicians are using. If I just do one drama now, faint for here, the news will move everywhere. It becomes popular. Then later you explain why he fainted. If you insult somebody, he will tell you the reason why he fainted. let me conclude. Let me conclude by saying that if we really need to get things right, we need to get back. You were trying to say something about the religious institutions.
Right.
If we can get hold of our religious institutions, because everybody listens to their pastor, everybody listens to their imam, and even everybody listens to their traditional ruler, the babalawo. They listen to them. So for now, let's see that is our last line of defense. If they can tell you, be careful what you say to your person. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. What you want somebody to say about you, that's what you should say about somebody. It will help us go in managing truth and expression of anger. You talked about the governor of Benue State being angry. And even you, where you came from, you are victims also. So people are angry. As a matter of fact, we are all angry. Right. But to what extent do we express our anger? Because anger can beget further anger that can beget anarchy. Right. So right now, somebody needs to make a sacrifice. You cost me pain. I won't cause you pain.
It's hard.
It's hard. That's why and Nigerians are coward when it comes to making sacrifices. Say, Omo, you do me, I do you. We will continue like that. And it's a vicious circle of vengeance. Yeah. I do you, they said this to me, I will say this to you. You said this to me. So we just keep talking. And where we are going, we won't like the outcome.
Okay, back to the pitfalls that are lavishing, the nation. Hate speech here, fake news. What's the way forward?
The way forward, the social media, they need to be monitored. And we need to train the youth. There are so many people using the handset. They are spreading information. They don't know the implication of that information. They are gullible. Anything they see, they just report to the media.
Yes.
So they need some level of education. That is what we need. We need to educate people. And that means what? The media has to go out. The media is a powerful tool. There is need for media to sensitize the people, either at the grassroots, at the state and the federal level. A media that is credible, a media that you can believe, a media that you can trust. We need a media like that.
Okay, looking at this angle, let's get back to the political actors that we have in place. There seems to be above the law when it has to do with the fake news. They don't consider themselves to be spreading fake news. They're untouchable.
They are not above the law.
But that's what it seems.
Well, that is what it seems.
They own the law.
They own the good.
Right. Sorry for interrupting.
All right. So when you look at this, for example, we talked about nobody believed that someone like Charles Soludo could descend so low to make some statements he made regarding Peter Obi. Then we get to see people like Shetima. We get to see people we could hold on to, say, okay, these are political leaders that they've been here for so long. We get to see, you talk about Keyamo being a lawyer. What did he study? He's a lawyer.
Yes.
Is he
a son, for that matter.
A son, good.
Right.
Then we get to find out, what are these people made up of? It doesn't matter your title this time around. What is your impact in a society? Someone like Dino, just like what David said, they're not talking for Nigerians, they're talking for them. And of course, PDP, they've been out of power. Dino, they've been out of power for over a period of time. And they're trying everything possible to make sure that they return back. Yes. And the only way you can come back is to convince Nigeria that this person here that you want to vote into power is this. And that is where fake news comes in. Yeah. So they can actually aggravate everything that comes up with that. So I don't know how we can actually regulate or work on this fake news when it has to do with coming from the same people.
I don't think we can regulate it. The General Abubakar's NGO with Bishop Kuka, they've signed an agreement with them. If you want to be a gentleman,
on the news, there's even a headline this morning. They said the candidates should speak to their spokespersons.
Yes,
that they should caution their spokespersons.
The spokesperson are they are the one holding the knife and the meat. If you don't talk to them, they'll continue to create more confusion. And that confusion can demarcate you as a president candidate.
And it's as if the peace accord that was signed.
In Nigeria, it doesn't demarcate you. It promotes you. The nuisance their spokesperson are exhibiting right now, in Nigeria, is supposed to demarcate you.
Yeah, it's supposed to demarcate you.
But it's the other way around.
It promotes you.
Because you have money.
Because
you have a lot of money. I mentioned
that doesn't sound
a lot of money.
No.
People.
Yeah, because in this game, it's the last man talking that wins. Just be talking, even if you're talking nonsense. It's the last man talking. And right now, APC and PDP, they are loud out there. They are talking. Other parties are not talking. They are being gentlemen. But in Nigeria, good men don't win elections.
Yeah.
And we need good
men
to
and
give birth to the good country.
Talking in the media means money. If you can't spend money in the
but
media,
the obedience are talking loudly even.
They are not talking. They are talking on social media. And only 35% of Nigerians, so to say, are really engaged on social media. The other 70% or so, they don't listen to your social media. So there's politics of assumption.
Yeah.
It will shock you on election day, but I thought. No, don't thought. Stop thoughting.
I used to say that.
A powerful weapon like radio is what they need.
Create a platform,
a good platform for them,
where you must suffocate people with your ideas.
Information, right?
They say every movement you see on earth was sponsored by a preacher. A preacher you are always listening to. Look at the movements in the led by Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah. Obama the same thing.
He was a talker.
He was a talker,
He was a talker.
Great orator.
Yes.
He's not just a talker, he was a continual talker.
Absolutely.
When talking is sustained, decision making is inevitable.
I think we also have this guy, Muhammad Ali, who was also...
The human mind is designed to listen to words. You are shaping opinions with words. Bit by bit, just the power of water. If water is rubbing through a surface, it can create damage. That's what words are. If we want a good man in Nigeria, let a good man be a talker. If he can't talk,
I love this.
I love him get it.
Good talker.
Otherwise, good men will not sit in power. We'll come back as a vicious circle.
So who ought to do this talking? Who should do this talking?
It's left to the people that are in.
Because if you, like you had said, they are not above the law, they are the law.
Yes.
So who is meant to do this?
When there are no rules of engagement, or when rules of engagement are faltered, and you are in a battleground, please break the law. If not, just kill you, you die. You'll be explaining. There's no rule of engagement. If rule of engagement says don't shoot somebody that is not armed, don't shoot. But if you discover that person that is not armed, in the guise of not being armed, is coming to shoot you, waste him.
Wow, that is really amazing.
Wow,
okay, let's get back. Talking about spokespersons here, I want to really find out if, how do you call Soludo? Because I really need to talk on that, because that is a trending story. It's been here for some days now, and it's still going to be here. Is Soludo a spokesperson for APC and PDP? Because he seems to be, addressing the people, talking to others, his subjects and every other person in the state and everyone who cares to listen to reconsider PDP or APC and not Labour Party. And we are talking about inciting statements and the rest. Don't you think this alone can actually provoke a lot of Nigerians to violence and the rest?
Yeah, it actually can. In my opinion, Soludo also at some point wanted to become the president, and I think he's still aspiring someday to become the president of Nigeria. And to me, I feel he feels that Obi might be a kind of blockade to his candidacy.
Political ambition.
Exactly. In a fortnight, probably not 2023. So I think it's demarketing Obi. This is my opinion.
Okay. For me, I read it all from this morning.
All right.
I look at the fears Soludo is having. He's want to protect especially the southeast. He wanted the legacy of Ojukwu, the legacy that they had, to be maintained.
Right.
I look at him as someone looking at the regional aspect of politics. The Igbos should have a platform. And that's why 2014, I saw it there, 2014, he wanted Obi to come back to APGA. But Obi went to PDP.
All right.
And Obi is back to Labour. And then he started complaining that no structure in Labour. You don't need structure to win election anyway. Right. It's your mind. It's your mind.
Ideology.
Yeah. Yes. I quite sympathize with him.
I like that.
He's a very good guy. I mean Soludo.
Yes.
Soludo is a very good person. He's a good person, but he's thinking of the Republican politics. He's thinking that is what he's thinking.
But sir,
the Igbos have to be united in one.
That is not what we need as a country.
Right. Yes, we need to rise above that.
I am from Kogi State. I'm Igala by tribe. I am sentimentally attached to my people. Right. If I see somebody speaking Igala, you can just break.
There's a special.
But there's what is called common interest.
Yeah.
When common interest comes into play, we should put aside personal sentiments.
Yeah. Right.
So whatever is Soludo's problem, which I think, Elizabeth, your point is very valid. Soludo is speaking from a selfish perspective.
Right.
The rise of Peter Obi was
it's
not
a threat.
it wasn't the consensus rise.
Yeah.
People were not consulted.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, before you rise, people must approve.
Yeah, you must have
Peter Obi did not seek the consult. He didn't consult some elder statement before he rose.
Yes.
His rising was maybe by the hand of God, or by mathematical permutations, but he just rose without consulting some people.
Exactly.
So those people are not
angry.
happy.
They're not happy with him.
If Peter Obi calls Soludo right now, say, okay, let's have a meeting point. Soludo will say, what I said yesterday, I didn't mean it.
Right.
This is how they play politics in Nigeria. So right now, the average Nigerian politics is speaking from a selfish perspective. What will be my gain? How can I gain if Peter Obi becomes a president? And let me tell you, Peter Obi would need to negotiate a lot of things to some extent. In the course of negotiating, that's where his power becomes weakened if he becomes a president.
Sure.
That is the dice and the imbalance of politics. The Nigerian politics, you must negotiate, bargain before you get to
talking about
power.
negotiation, I think that was one of the reasons they had to leave PDP.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, there are many factors to it.
Exactly.
And some of the parties too need to collapse their structures and move to other stronger parties.
So I think way forward, the Nigerian political space has become a cult. If you don't belong to one of the cults, anything you say is useless. So the Nigerian populace should also become a cult. It takes a cult to fight a cult. And when I use the word cult, don't look at it from the fetish perspective. When people come together and they have a covenant and a bond based on a common interest, they become a cult.
True.
So if we need to profile change for Nigeria, we need to come together from a cultism mindset, believe in what we stand for and stand with ourselves. The average Nigerian clusters, they are fragile. If you throw 2 million here, they'll start fighting. It scatters. Throw 4 million because somebody is hungry. Hunger weaponized, everybody can be bought. What money cannot buy, more money can buy.
All right. Well, before we go on a short break, there's this story of a lot of Nigerians coming out to say, okay, Obi should be, penalized for allowing this young child that was part of the rally. You remember how
the baby,
yes. And of course, there's a suit case against Obi right now.
For that?
A court case, for that. And of course, they sue him with a damage of over 50 million as a result of Obi allowing the young child.
Allowing,
and also sponsored the video that he appreciated the effort.
He was never there. He never sponsored the
video. That was happening. That's what's happening even right now. Then away from there, we also heard the crisis befalling the APC in Akwa Ibom State. We are looking at the minister, that is Akpabio here. The courts now disqualify him and said, okay, you will not work. In fact, it was an appeal court.
Yeah.
They threw out the judgment, say you can't be APC candidate regarding the fact that
For
you
Senate.
for Senate, because every of your attention was on presidential list, and now you're back again to go in. And of course, talking about that, I think you also mentioned
one Udofia
also, who is APC.
Yeah,
as well.
Udofia's election was conducted on 26th May 2022, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, then Akpabio's was 28th May.
Right,
yeah. So honestly, I don't know why. First, let me ask, is it okay, is it permitted that we have one person fighting for two political positions? Because Akpabio was contesting for presidency, and at the same time, he had his eyes on them.
But most of them that bought two forms here.
Yes, and many others did that.
Presidential aspirant, and he also picked for as the Senate.
Right.
I think the whole thing in Nigeria is lack of morality.
Okay, Doctor, just a minute. Kisha, we are due for next break. So,
all right.
Yeah, so we go on a quick break, and please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
All right, I think we'll return back from
Television Nigerian is one of the leading giants in Nigeria's digital broadcasting. We deliver quality productions to clients from all sectors of life. We are experts in program streaming, event coverage, news reporting, adverts, documentaries, personality profiling, skits, and jingles. You can advertise now on Television Nigerian network platforms or sponsor programs like The Patriot, Spectacle, Business Daily, Security Dossier, and other programs. To publicize your business from ground state to the zenith, we have the capacity to introduce, promote, and publicize your businesses to increase patronage. We associate with quality to attract clients like you. Television Nigerian is your media solution.
All right, it's good to have you back on our program today on Daybreak Africa. This is on Television Nigeria TV, and we have amazing people, coming to grace this segment, and it's been a wonderful segment indeed, talking about David Ibrahim and Dr. Akon Amboso right here, and it's been a wonderful time. We had a lot of trending stories, and we also look at the pitfalls in hate speech and of hate speech and fake news in Nigeria. If we are going to move, Nigeria will move away from where we are right now. There's something that we have to take responsibility for. Nigerians need to take responsibilities to know this is my responsibility, that political office, this is your responsibility, and we turn and look at this leader. This is what we have to do. All right, let me return back to you, Doctor. What do you think should be the responsibility of a common man, ordinary Nigerian? What we need to do at this time to get back Nigeria, or to get the system in place that will work towards having something ideal, just something, because I can't say perfect system.
With all of this playing out.
I think from my own perspective, I believe that we've not been asking our leaders questions.
Right.
The issue of accountability, no one cares about it. A member or a senator comes back to ask for vote, and we don't ask, let's see your scorecard for the past 4 years. We don't ask questions, and they don't visit. When they come, they just maybe give you machine here, motorcycle here, car here, and then go. We're supposed to ask them projects they've actually be able to do for the people, the common man. The projects are not there. They come maybe once in a while, there's a borehole here. What of the hospitals? What of the schools? People want to be they want a structural change within their local communities. Social amenities, scholarship. People are sick, and people are busy traveling abroad for work.
Okay, now, but if you look at this, and you said this administration, the last administration, President Buhari administration, now, if you look at it so far and say they've not done well, all around, economy, inflation, insecurity, just mention whatever you can that has to do with administration. They've not done well. Should we classify that as hate speech or as fake news, based on the narratives, what we see around?
It's not fake, it's not hate.
Okay.
If you are telling me that I've not done well, I'm supposed to accept it.
All right.
In goodness, and then correct it. Right. Because government is a continuity.
Yeah,
we know that.
It is. Right.
If you perform well these past 7 years, then we can vote you back. I'm from Kaduna State.
Right.
There's a lot of killings in my state. If you've driven through Kwe to Kabanchan, you know the road is bad. For the past 7 years, no one has repaired that road. Even the renewal in Kabanchan. You need to go to Kabanchan with a car. You'll be sorry for yourself. And this is replicated in all the states. There are some selected areas that government wants to develop. And that's what they're doing. It's not all the 3 senatorial districts that have been taken care of.
All right.
Until government goes down, and going down means what? Let the local government have their independence. If they have that, they should be able to touch the common man.
Right.
The local government, they need to be empowered. And state government need to handle all the projects they need. They've promised people, and they are not doing it. The issue of insecurity, they need to address it. That insecurity, with that insecurity being tackled, we can't move forward.
Okay.
And 2023 is going to be a watershed for Nigerians. We need to decide who is going to rule this country. Not this pampering, not emotionality. When people come with emotions, I want to give you, and at the end, they won't give you anything.
Right. Yeah. So even if they're giving something, it's not something that can sustain you for even a day.
It's not something that can sustain it, no.
Okay, let's return back to Mr. David. How do we classify the Buhari administration? Can you say they've done well? If you say they've done well, is it fair to the report? Because you can as well speak positivity, and it's also fake news.
I like that.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
how do you?
Yeah, as far as it doesn't go down well with the government, they classify it as fake news.
I love that.
Okay.
Right now, that's a sensitive point because what will I compare Buhari's administration with?
Okay.
Comparison is, to me, the hallmark parameter
All
for
right.
measuring any administration.
That's right.
So there must be a benchmark. I'm comparing him, is it to Obasanjo government or to Goodluck's government or to the incoming government? So right now, just leave them. Because if the person coming does worse than Buhari, we will say Buhari was good.
And do you think Nigeria is having that? They have that ability to really go be straight against.
Nigerians are like leprous people. Nigerians are used to suffering; they don't feel anymore. So you can't ask Nigeria to judge who ruled well or not, because that same Nigeria, if the devil comes and gives him Maggi and salt,
will collect.
So don't ask any Nigerian whether they did well or not. Every Nigerian is sick. We're in a coma, collectively. So any opinion you get is a waste of time, because Nigerians don't have opinion. They give us opinion.
They impose the
Yes,
opinion.
they impose
Lizzie,
opinion.
you don't have opinion?
I do have my opinions, okay? Initially, you had mentioned that the government, being as they are, okay, almost as if, is it almost now to say that they are the law. And you said that it will take Nigerians to like form a kind of a cult, which you had explained what you meant by cult, not necessarily.
Probably a formidable force.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How would you advise the ordinary Nigerian to go about this, to start this cult this movement?
The ordinary Nigerian is not intelligent. I want you to know that. It sounds strange. It sounds antagonistic, contrary. The ordinary Nigerian is following foolishly. The ordinary Nigerian is following a politician.
Has no opinion.
Is following a religious leader. He said, my daddy, you see a woman come home and said, my pastor said I shouldn't greet my husband. I'm not saying there's a case like that, but you will see some cases like that. Your husband, anything your leader or religious leader or political leader says, you just follow. The average Nigerian doesn't sit to say, like which church in the Bible, they say they go back and
search the scriptures.
They search the scriptures again. If Nigerians have a fallback mechanism where they say this thing where they talk not true, it is very easy for the average Nigerian to be mobilized.
That's right.
But right now, I keep coming back to our last line of defense, which is our religious institutions. Can our religious leaders seek the face of God and start be a voice. Right now, our religious leader, we don't know where they stand. Of course, in the name of we are supposed to be neutral, but you'll be neutral until there is no country to be neutral.
To be neutral over, exactly.
There's a point to be neutral. There's a point to be proactive. That's my opinion. Seek the face of God. Say, God, what this thing is not good. What do we do? What position do we take? And these are people of influence and affluence. They can make a right statement. I respect the Islamic leaders, sorry to say. I respect them. Because if they have a direction, they'll tell you on Friday that, Shine, this way, go. And you see an army before them. But the Christian people are very diplomatic. They don't want to offend people because there is a strong pressure to maintain my church congregation. This is an intricate balance. Nobody is saying it. Even as I'm saying it now, you guys are looking at me somehow.
No, but you're right.
But if we need to say it, doesn't mean I'm a lower person, I'm an inferior Christian or whatever. Listen to me. That something becomes a culture doesn't necessarily mean it is right. One day it will be truncated, and we'll look back, history, we'll write stories, and say this is what these people did, it has become this. So in conclusion, to judge whether Buhari is right now or not, it's not in our power to say. We must compare him with somebody. You might be surprised it's better than our administration that is coming.
No, so far, because you can actually...
we don't hope so.
No, we don't hope so. We don't hope so.
I love that hoping. Now, we've been hoping since 1931.
Now, you know, I don't want to just say, okay, let's compare his administration with this, because what it was yesterday is not what it is today. We are looking at this, but to be sincere with yourself, we know Nigeria has this challenge, to be sincere with yourself, and I need to be sincere with myself too. If I want to talk about Buhari administration, the aspect of insecurity, the aspect of food security, the aspect of inflation we have in Nigeria, we talk about the unemployment, and if Nigerians don't speak up to say this administration is barbaric, this administration has not done well, do you think don't you think we are empowering their spokespersons to speak on our behalf, to say Nigeria President Buhari administration is the best administration, just the way Keyamo and the best, where you get to hear the president comes out to say something, the presidency is saying something, then you have spokesperson of different cabals saying their own thing. Don't you think that if you don't speak up that, okay, administration, Buhari administration, you've not done well, don't you think it's not helping the people to know, because you have to be deliberate to say, okay, this is not it.
I know where you are going, Kisha. You want to bring out some words from my mouth.
But
my only problem now, if I say Buhari did not perform well, what will it change?
Nothing.
And of course, you have some Nigerians that will say, okay, that man is saying the truth.
So what if I say Buhari did not perform well?
Right.
It will be their word against my word. We are just talking left, right, and center. They say they build road under the water. Didn't you see it?
So the big problem is that the followership, they've never challenged the leaders.
That's right.
And that is the main problem we're having.
That's right.
Okay.
Do you know what we are crying for now? Like I said earlier, we are not crying for leadership. We are crying for a followership movement.
Yes.
A formidable one.
Right. That is what
a followership movement that can shut Nigeria down. Not what NSAS did was a trial, which is good. But a followership movement that everybody will shut down, say, oh, more, we want enter gutter. Let's not go to that gutter. Let's stop here. And shock everybody to their veins until it gets to that point. And I want to tell you, some of the persons that can make that happen are religious leaders, both the Muslim and the Christian religious leaders. They are our last line of defense.
Traditional
traditional
worship.
Well, sorry to say,
a lack of unity. I hope you know that. There's lack of unity.
So that's going to be a challenge.
That's what this political class use.
Divide and rule.
Yes. They are armed. They have disunity. They have hunger. They have hate speech. They have everything to deploy.
I want us to look at this fake news from the other way around. Don't you think there are times when the government themselves give us fake news? Like in the areas looking at this fuel subsidy removal issue that till now we are not sure and so clear about why it's been delayed. Even there is a trending news today about the governor of Kaduna State, Governor El-Rufai, saying that he doesn't know why that they had agreed since 2021 to remove the subsidy, but yet he doesn't know why they haven't done that. So don't you think that's...
It's a fallback on what we've been saying. Political will.
Yeah.
Political will. The president has to be decisive. A document has been sent to you, maybe executive summary, you need to take action on it. But if you rely on it, that's all, the document will be there. What of the refineries we have? And we're having crisis all over. We have 4 refineries, and there's turnaround maintenance. If they had just repaired 1 refinery, we wouldn't have been going through all this. Look at the bunkers. Bunkers, that's part of insecurity we're going through.
Right.
Yeah. That's destroyed the whole of Niger Delta. And who are those involved? It's not you and me that can be there. You must be wealthy. You must be well connected to be involved in that.
You must be well influenced.
Yes.
Influential.
So the economy is suffering because of that. Unemployment is suffering because of that. If the 4 refineries were working, we are supposed to be exporting refined petroleum products. But we're sending crude out, then collecting the same thing back. Just like you have in yam here, you send it to someone to pound for you and send it back to you.
Wow.
Unfortunately, one of the fallouts I see is young people leaving the country. To me, I see it as a long-run effect because you don't know what is true anymore. You don't know whether things are what they appear to be. So the droves of young people leaving Nigeria right now is very pathetic. I did a little research. I asked, would you want to leave Nigeria? Before I've been saying, yes, which country? Ask this one, yes, in my mind I've left already. And that is alarming. People are leaving this country. Brains are leaving this country. And at the end of the day, who is going to stay back to fix the country? So this hate speech is hitting up the polity. And in the process of doing that, people are no more comfortable. I think the best thing to do is to go to Ghana, to go to Benin Republic, to go to just leave Nigeria. People are tensed. Some people right now, their families are abroad. They are just around here whistling. Any slightest thing, they just move.
So we need to strengthen our institutions. That is the main problem. Information, especially the Ministry of Information, Interior and Defense, these are areas that need to be strengthened.
But Doctor, in all of this, do you think the journalists are doing enough? The media in Nigeria is doing enough?
The media is not doing enough. For me, I believe the media is not doing enough. The whole thing is about reorienting the attention of our people, the youth. Tell them that there's a better Nigeria tomorrow. I remember our former minister, late Okuli.
Dora,
yes. Yeah. She wanted something like that. The Ministry of Information needs to have a program. You need to chunk out the program to the grassroots and then to the urban professionals and then doctors, especially doctors and engineers that are running out. The hospitals need to be, we need to have a reposition our hospitals, ensure that doctors are well paid, teachers are well paid. That's why the universities are suffering. You pay a professor for 500,000. A professor is supposed to be just like a major general in the army.
Okay, what exactly, which area is the media failing? What are they supposed to do that they are not doing?
The information we're passing is just political news. We need to go to the structure, the areas where information, grassroots is very important.
Right.
We can do grassroots scanning, environmental scanning at the grassroots level. Go to Bayelsa and find out what is needed to be done there. The same thing with Port Harcourt. The same thing with Anambra. All round, down to the west, down to Jigawa, all these areas. But the whole thing boils down to the issue of security too.
You said something that good journalism is expensive.
Right. Very, very expensive.
For you to carry out journalism in its proper sense, you need to spend money. Right. There need to be insurance and other things in place. The average Nigerian journalist is not, his life is not insured, nothing is insured, his equipment, they are not insured. So he's careful. And you can't be too careful if you want to get truth. it's not possible.
And they find it difficult to criticize government.
No, you can't.
And
so
we are not supposed to criticize government.
With a
You are
phone
supposed
call,
to point out to them.
I've seen a journal, a reporter where they called his office and said, "Warn that your boy." Before I knew, that boy was out. It was a warning to other reporters in that firm. So at the end of the day, until we get to a point where we have artificial intelligence reporting, where you have nobody to hold but a robot. The robot doesn't have conscience. It says things the way they are. That is when we will have.
And of course, that can actually is also a system that is controlled by someone somewhere, because
the maths, the science, the data processing behind that. Once you set it, you can't alter it.
Yeah, you can't alter it.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing time having you right on this show. It's been a wonderful time, really. Lizzie, I really enjoyed this segment.
Yeah,
and
it's been
so much.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
very interactive.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on this.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lizzie.
All right.
Thank you so
All right. Thank you so much, Mr.
Keisha.
David.
I like calling your name. I just feel good when I say Keisha.
Wow, that sounds great. All right. Thank you so much, Lizzie. It's been an amazing time working together.
Viewers, thank you for being there. We'll be here again with another interesting topic tomorrow.
All right. So from everyone out here, we said a very big thank you for watching this program, and we're looking forward to having a great time tomorrow. In fact, I can't wait for tomorrow to come, because tomorrow is just like educating a lot of Nigerians, and some of the points David raised here, there are things we should also give ourselves an assignment over them, so we can actually come out and start putting them to work.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, from everyone, thank you so much for staying with us. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.